You think you know the story of Taylor Swift's billion-dollar fortune? A tale of sold-out stadiums and chart-topping records? But that success isn't just about music. It's a masterclass in strategy, a playbook for engineering a global empire, while the very industry that built her tried and failed to own her. This is not the story of a pop star who stumbled into fame. This is the story of a calculated and relentless acquisition of power. Forget the girl with the guitar. Picture a corporate titan in sequence. Welcome to eLuXe, your guide to the billionaire lifestyle, old money secrets, and elite luxury. Today, we deep dive into the strategic mind of the CEO, known as Taylor Swift. We are breaking down the hidden strategies and calculated risks that prove her success was no accident. It was a hostile takeover executed over 2 decades. Every chart topper, every stadium tour, and every public feud was a chess move in a game she was determined to win. And she didn't just win. She fundamentally rewrote the rules of an entire industry, transforming artistic passion into an unbreakable fortress of wealth and control. Stay with us as we reveal how she did it. The blueprint for a dynasty. To understand the empire, you must return to the blueprint. The year is 2005. A 15-year-old Taylor Swift signs with Big Machine Records, a new independent label in Nashville. For a new artist, signing away the rights to your original recordings, the masters, was standard practice. But a crucial detail in her negotiation signaled the strategic mind already at work. While the label would own the master recordings of her first 6 albums, she retained her publishing rights as a songwriter. This distinction, seemingly minor, was a seed of leverage she planted for a future she couldn't have predicted, but was already preparing for. She didn't try to emulate the pop-centric icons of the early 2000s. Instead, she identified a massive underserved market, teenagers who loved country music but lacked a voice that spoke directly to their lives. Her lyrics were crafted like diary entries, telling hyper-specific, yet universally felt stories that an entire generation felt were written just for them. This wasn't just songwriting, it was demographic-focused product development. More importantly, she began building a die-hard community. Before fandom was a marketing buzzword, she was cultivating the Swifties through groundbreaking, direct engagement. She pioneered using social media like MySpace for personal conversations, hosted secret listening sessions in her homes, and embedded Easter eggs in her liner notes. While other artists maintained distance, she was building an army, member by member. This community wasn't just a collection of consumers, it was an asset whose loyalty would one day grant her priceless leverage. The pivot that created a pop colossus. By 2014, Taylor Swift was the queen of country, but the genre has a ceiling on the global stage. To build an international empire, she had to expand her territory. So she made the single biggest bet of her career. She abandoned country music entirely. The album 1989 wasn't a transition, it was a hostile takeover of the pop landscape. History is littered with artists who failed to cross genres. Swift risked alienating the very fans and radio stations that built her career. But the rebrand was so total, sonically, visually, and aesthetically, that it didn't just work. It exponentially grew her market share. The move from Nashville darling to New York pop icon was a textbook example of blue ocean strategy. She moved into an uncontested market and made the competition irrelevant. The financial impact was massive. Her brand value skyrocketed, and her negotiating power became absolute. When her Big Machine contract expired in 2018, she was the most powerful free agent in music. She signed a landmark deal with Universal Music Group's Republic Records. This time, the terms were radically different. Crucially, she secured ownership of the master recordings for all her future work. The quiet details she had insisted on as a teenager, owning her songwriting, had given her the power to now demand ownership of her recordings. She had secured the future of her empire, but the battle for her past was about to begin. The $300 million betrayal. In June 2019, the foundation of Swift's empire was shaken. Her former label, Big Machine Records, was sold to a company owned by music manager Scooter Braun for a reported sum of over $300 million. That sale included the label's most valuable assets, the master recordings of her first 6 albums. Let's be clear about what a master is. A song has 2 copyrights, one for the composition, lyrics and melody, and one for the specific sound recording. or master. The owner of the master controls how that recording is used in movies, ads, and on streaming services, and they receive the lion's share of the revenue. Swift owned her songwriting, but the recordings themselves now belong to a man she publicly called a manipulative bully. Swift stated she had tried to buy her masters for years, but was never given a fair chance. Now they were in the hands of an adversary. But a brilliant CEO doesn't just manage a crisis, they weaponize it. Swift took the fight public in a scathing Tumblr post that instantly went viral. She framed the conflict not as a complex contract dispute, but as a universal story of a powerful man attempting to control a woman's art. It was a masterstroke of narrative warfare. The post ignited a global conversation about artists' rights, mobilized her fan base, and turned public opinion decisively in her favor. The industry saw a betrayal. Taylor Swift saw an opportunity, the Checkmate Move. Locked out from buying her past, Swift executed one of the most audacious strategies in music history. She decided to recreate it from scratch. Because she owned the publishing rights as the songwriter, her contract allowed her to re-record her old albums after a certain period. She announced she would create new master recordings of her first 6 albums, which she would own completely. Starting in 2021, she began releasing the Taylor's Version albums. This wasn't just revenge, it was a masterclass in market disruption. Each re-recorded album wasn't a copy, but a superior new product. To compel fans to switch, she added from the vault tracks, unreleased songs from each original album's era. This transformed a re-recording project into a must-have deluxe edition. The results were staggering. Fearless, Taylor's Version, became the first re-recorded album to ever top the Billboard 200 chart. The new Taylor's Version albums began to systematically devalue the old masters, first owned by Braun and later by a private equity firm. Why would anyone pay to license the old version when they could license the new, more popular Taylor's Version directly from Taylor herself? She didn't just make a copy, she created a superior financial asset that she controlled, effectively hijacking the revenue stream from the people who owned her old work. It was Checkmate, the Eras Tour, a monopoly on culture. With her back catalog now a weaponized asset and her future secured, Swift launched her masterstroke, the Eras Tour. This wasn't just a concert series, it was the victory lap for her entire career narrative. The tour was a chronological celebration of the very catalog she had fought to own. The numbers are unprecedented. The Eras Tour became the first tour in history to gross over $1 billion and concluded with a total gross of over $2 billion. The tour was then leveraged into a concert film, Taylor Swift. The Eras Tour, which bypassed traditional Hollywood studios and went on to gross over $261.6 million globally, making it the highest-grossing concert film of all time. This phenomenon, dubbed Swiftonomics, created a tangible economic boom in every city it visited, projected to add around $5 billion to the global economy. In Los Angeles, her 6 shows alone generated an estimated $320 million for the local economy. The tour wasn't just a series of performances, it was a traveling economic stimulus package and a cultural pilgrimage for millions. It was the ultimate flex of a CEO who had successfully turned her art into one of the most powerful economic engines in modern entertainment. The billion-dollar fortress. Today, Forbes estimates Taylor Swift's net worth at over $1.1 billion, making her the first musician to reach this status based primarily on songs and performances. Her music catalog alone is valued at an estimated $500 million, while her strategically acquired real estate portfolio is worth over $150 million, with 8 properties across the country. Her brand has become a legal and commercial fortress. Through her company, TAS Rights Management, she has filed for hundreds of trademarks, including not just album titles, but iconic lyrics like "This Sick Beat" and even the names of her cats. This aggressive intellectual property strategy gives her total control over her brand and its monetization. She has become so powerful that she doesn't need traditional brand deals. Brands need her. She has architected a perfectly self-sustaining ecosystem where art fuels commerce, and commerce is protected by razor-sharp business strategy. Every lyric, fan interaction, and business deal is a calculated move to strengthen her ownership and control over her narrative and financial destiny. So, how did Taylor Swift build a billion-dollar empire? She did it by thinking like a CEO from day one. She built an intensely loyal customer base when others were just chasing fleeting fame. She took a monumental risk to conquer a new, more lucrative market. She brilliantly turned a public betrayal into a revolutionary business opportunity. And above all, she understood a fundamental truth the music industry often tries to obscure. Ownership is everything. Her career is the ultimate blueprint for turning artistic passion into an unbreakable empire, proving that the single most valuable thing you can ever own is your own work. Taylor Swift's journey is one of the most compelling business stories of our time, proving that in any industry, true power comes from ownership. For more deep dives into the strategies behind the world's greatest fortunes, subscribe to eLuXe. We'll see you in the next video.